like my tripod is crooked, but it's a crooked world. Hello friends, welcome to another video. If you are new, my name is Sheila, and if you're not new, welcome back friends. We are doing a fall bookish autumnal vlog where I want to create my fall / spooky TBR list and then go to my local bookstore and buy the books. I have a running TBR list that is basically what I'm calling my TBR draft, and I want to kind of finalize, solidify that list, write it down, put it on paper, and then go to the bookstore and see if I can find those titles. So if you love bookish content and reading vlogs, make sure to hit the subscribe button because we do all kinds of things around books, and I would love for you to join our community here. Okay, so let's get into the TBR list creation phase of this vlog because that is very important. I usually just go to bookstores with like no plan and I have my Goodreads, you know, app open and try and find things that way, and sometimes it works and I really enjoy just like browsing and seeing what's curated and just try to stumble upon things. But I'm trying to be a little more organized because there are so many books that I want to read, and I know I won't be able to read all of them, or I'm just gonna have to like push some of them into November. So I feel like I'm gonna have to like prioritize a lot of books that I want to read. I guess I'll share kind of my strategy. So the first thing I did was just watch a few booktuber fall spooky dark academia book recommendation videos, and I'll link them below. But I think there's 4 people who have kind of helped me create my TBR, in addition to just like finding things on Goodreads and seeing things at the bookstore in the past. But I just wanted to give a shout out to all of the booktubers who I've referenced, which is The Story Ain't Over, Elias, Peruse Project, and Morgan Long. Love all their channels. Definitely check them out if you've never heard of them. So what I ended up doing was just watching a bunch of recommendation videos and then adding books that, you know, caught my eye to my Goodreads TBR, which is very, very long. And now I want to like go through that TBR list and just write down a select few titles that I know I definitely want to pick up. I've already started reading one book on my e-reader, which is The Night Circus by Erin Morganstern, and I learned about this book from Morgan Long's channel, and I'm not typically like into circus themed things. This takes place in like a, you know, a circus, if you couldn't tell by the title. I was intrigued by the plot and Morgan's like review and thoughts on it, so I was like, I'm gonna check it out. And then I was able to get a copy of it through my library on my e-reader, started reading it. I'm hooked, I'm in the story, and I want to go get a hard copy, like a physical book, so I can have that experience of having it in my hands. I also like to purchase books that either I want to support the author or it's some kind of book that, you know, is meaningful to me. There are a lot of books that I just read and I borrow through the library just to kind of, you know, read it and just kind of be done with it. But there are books that I like to collect and put on my bookshelf, or maybe I want to share those with people in the future. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is just write out my list, and then once I have a better idea of what books I want to read, I'll share them real quickly, and then we will go to the bookstore. Compiled my TBR list, which consists of 13 books that I definitely want to read, or where I was super excited about when I like learned about them and added them to my TBR. Now I don't think I'll be able to read all of these, or maybe even find all of these at the bookstore. So when I have a long list, I kind of like prioritize by accessibility. So if it's available at the bookstore and I feel called, I'll buy it. If it's not at the bookstore but I have it available at my library and there's not a million holds on it, I'll get it. So what I end up reading will kind of fall into that category, but there are like top tier books that I definitely want to read and will go out of my way to read. So if I have to go to another bookstore, that will also happen. So I think what I need to do is just like highlight the ones that I definitely want to read. See how I do when I actually get to the bookstore. So quick rundown: The Night Circus by Erin Morganstern, already started reading that and I want the physical copy like I mentioned. The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson, which I actually bought already. I got this at Target I think yesterday. It was on sale, so I was like, okay. Atmospheric Sirens for a fall spooky TBR. The next book that's like top tier is Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson, which is part of a series. It's a young adult mystery thriller book, and I was just really drawn to the plot. I think I heard about this through the Story Ain't Over YouTube channel, and I found a copy of it on at my library e-reader, and I downloaded it and started reading it and was like, okay, yes, I want the hard copy. There's a map in there. Let's see if we can find that. So hoping that that will be at the bookstore. Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman, which is also another series that is quite old. Like the first book came out in like 2003, and then I heard about, I guess, the prequel to that from Morgan Long, which is just called Magic Lessons, and I originally wanted to read that, and then I learned it was a series, so we need to read things in order. So we're gonna see if that's there. Nothing But Blackened Teeth by Cassandra Khaw. Now this is like a horror novella, which doesn't come out until October 15th, so I'm gonna have to wait to get that. And I think that'll be a really good book to read during Halloween, because I haven't read any horror at all, really. I like horror films, and I think it'll be something I definitely want to like read when we get closer to Halloween. And I think I'll do like a Halloween spooky horror like reading vlog, because it's really short, so I'll be able to read that I think in like a day or two. So I won't be expecting to find that, but I definitely want to read that. Rock Paper Scissors by Alex Feeney, which is a thriller book that takes place in Scotland. There are going to be, I think, other books. There are more books on here that take place in Scotland, because Scotland has my heart. Once There Were Wolves by Charlotte McConaghy. I don't remember what the plot is, but I remember like it was something that I definitely want to look into, so we'll see if it's there. The Lighthouse Witches by C.G. Cooke is another one. I heard about that from Elias, and it also takes place in Scotland. Somebody's missing. You Had Me at Scotland. House of Leaves, which I actually already have a copy of over there. It's a horror book. George got it for me last Christmas. Haven't read it yet, so it's the perfect time to read it. The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. I read her other book, The Guest List, which I really enjoyed. I don't think that'll be something that I'll probably buy, but if it's available as an ebook through my library, I'll try and get it. The X-Hex by Erin Sterling. I think this is like a romance book. I forget, but it's about witches, hexes. Most of the books on here are either thrillers or horror, so it might be good for me to mix it up. I know there's another like romance book called Payback's a Witch. Maybe I'll see it at the bookstore and I'll take a look at it, but it's not on my immediate TBR. My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. This is another horror book that's, I think the main character is mixed race, so that sounds really interesting for me. And the last one is In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, and I think that's like a murder mystery type book where a bunch of college students reunite, have some kind of reunion, somebody ends up dead. Sounds like a very Agatha Christie type of mystery, and we'll see if they have it. All right, friends, I think I'm going to head to the bookstore. I'm going to rip my TBR list out because I'm not attached to it being in this journal, and having things in front of me is a lot easier than have my phone. Like if I go to the grocery store, I'm one of those people that still have a like pen and paper like in my hand crossing groceries out. Let me know if you're still a pen and paper kind of person, or if you just do everything on your phone. Side note, but let's go to the bookstore and see what I can find.
I know it's nothing new, but it's so good to see you. We do this every day, and I'm still so amazed by you. So hold me tight through the night. It's just us two, me and you.
This is on my TBR. It's nothing spooky or fall related at all, but I think this was on my TBR. I think it's a dark academia book. So they have the second book in the Truly Devious series, but not the first one. So I'm sad. Okay friends, we have returned from the bookstore and I got some books. I guess theoretically I should put this book here too. Although one of these is not like the others. But anyway, let's like go through what I did find and compare to my list and see how I did there. Okay, the first book I wanted was The Night Circus, which I found. It was in the front section where they had like staff recommendations, where it was like, if you like this, you'll like this. And there was like 2 other circus books they were recommending on top of this one. So I'll have to check those out in the future. But I got The Night Circus. I'm very happy. It is just, it's very beautiful. So this book is about a night circus, which is a magical circus that I don't know too much about yet. I did start this book like I mentioned, but I'm not that far into it where I can describe things, but I think I'll do a reading vlog on this book and you guys can follow along with me. But yeah, it's like late 19th century, at least that's where I'm at right now, and there's 2 characters, a girl named Celia and a boy named Marco, who are basically trained from the time they're very young to become part of the circus, and there's a duel that they are destined to participate in against each other. So while all that's going on, they eventually fall in love. I haven't gotten to that part yet. The catch with this duel is only one will end up surviving, so that is our plot. That's what we're given, and it sounds romantic and magical and maybe even a little bit sad, and it's not a like typical, I guess, fall horror book that I would normally read, but I'm here for the magic and all those vibes. All right, next book on my list was The Year of the Witching, which I already purchased at Target the other day, and this one is by Alexis Henderson. So this is about a witch in Puritan the Puritan era in, I want to say Massachusetts, but I don't think it tells me where it is yet on the back, if it's in the States or if it's in, but think Salem witch trials, but kind of reimagined in a modern way to tackle the issues of sexism and racism and how that all comes into play with our main character, whose name is Emmanuel. And this is part of a series that I don't think I mentioned called Bethel, which I think that's the town that the main character lives in, and it kind of follows, you know, her life in this puritanical cult and being a witch. And you basically already know the history of the Salem witch trials. You can kind of gather where this takes us. And the one aspect that I really liked when I was reading the plot was that there's this journal that Emmanuel finds of her mother's, and she gets, you know, it kind of tells a story about her mom and I guess her background and how she got into the throes of witchcraft, and that's just part of her like ancestry. So that was really interesting too. So I'm really excited to read this probably after I read The Night Circus. Okay, the next book that was on my list was The Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. They did not have the book there, which I was sad, and I actually ended up ordering it, and it should get here by the end of the week, so I'm gonna go pick that up this weekend and probably start reading that this weekend too. Next book was Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. I found this. They had I think 2 other books that were part of the series there too, but I just got this one. And it follows 2 sisters who are witches. I'm reading very many witch books this month, and this does take place in Massachusetts. It does tell me where this is. And basically the 2 witches want to kind of escape their like life as witches. They're just in this town. They are known to cause trouble. I think this takes place in like 1619 or like the 17th century, early colonial America. So again, Salem witch trial vibes, persecution vibes. There's a lot of hostility towards these 2 women, so they end up escaping and moving out, but somehow later on both of them are drawn back to their home and witchcraft, and that's kind of where the story takes us. So very excited for this book. Okay, the next book that I really wanted was The Lighthouse Witches by C.J. Cooke, and the person there that was helping me find books said the book hasn't come out yet, or it's supposed to come out at the end of the month, so maybe this was one of the books that I just need to pick up later this month. Okay, I just looked it up on Goodreads, and it says it's supposedly was published on October 1st, but the bookseller told me it wasn't coming out till later, so I don't know if it is available somewhere else and I need to go find it. But it just takes place on a Scottish island. Two sisters go missing, and 20 years later one of those sisters is found, and their secrets. So Scotland, missing, mystery, secrets. I am very interested in reading that book. And the next book that I definitely want to read this spooky season this month is House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. Again, I already mentioned that this book has been on my TBR for a while. I got it for Christmas last year, and it's basically about a family that moves into a haunted house, and it's known for its like different kind of writing style, and that it originally started out not even as a book, just like scraps of paper that was, you know, passed around, kind of giving me like Post-Secret vibes, if you know what Post-Secret is. So I think this will be a good thing to read close to Halloween, haunted house, you know, all those things. The next book that was on my list was Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney, which they did have a copy there, but it was the only one left and it was damaged. So I decided not to get it just because it was a hardcover and I don't want to spend a bunch of money on a hardcover and it's damaged. So I might try and pick that up at like Barnes & Nobles or another bookstore in the meantime, or just try and check it out on my e-reader. The next book on my list is Once There Were Wolves by Charlotte McConaughey. This book was on my TBR like a few months ago. I'm not sure where I heard about this from, probably another booktuber, but again, it takes place in Scotland and it follows this woman who is in Scotland with a biology team, and they're there to work with the native wolves that live on in that area. There's a mystery element to it because somebody ends up murdered, and the town is like, it was the wolves that killed that person, but then there's, you know, thoughts from other people that are like, the wolves didn't do it. So it kind of follows, you know, the team that are advocating for the wolves, the town which seems to be against the wolves or blaming the wolves for murder, and then the whole mystery of like who done it, who actually murdered this person. Was it a human? Was it the wolves? Who was it? I read really good reviews about this on Goodreads, and that it was just kind of a book that just kind of moves you, and that's like what I want to read. Like, I love the plot, but I want a book that kind of just like sticks with me for a while. So I'm excited to read this. Probably will do a reading vlog on this one too. Let's see. The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley was another book I mentioned, but I did not find it there, so I might just try and get that like through my library. The X-Hex by Erin Sterling was not there. I tried to order it, but then the person said that it would take 9 days because they have to order it from super out of state, and I said, don't worry about it. Maybe I'll try and find it at Barnes & Nobles, or just, well, nix that one for this month. The next and final book that I purchased is My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones, and I just realized that Stephen Graham Jones is the author of The Only Good Indians, which is a book that's on my TBR already, and I actually got it at a used bookstore, but I haven't read it yet, and I didn't even realize that until right now after I bought the book. So I really need to read The Only Good Indians, and then obviously I'm going to read this around Halloween. But this is a horror book, and it's about this main character who loves slasher films, and then she ends up in a slasher film scenario herself. So that's really all you need for a good Halloween horror book for me right now, so I'm very excited to read this one. And the last book was In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. I did not find that there, and I didn't ask about it, so that might just be something that I need to try and find maybe at Barnes & Nobles or somewhere else. It's apparently already out, so it just might not have been there, or I missed it. And just one other book that I did pick up there that has nothing to do with fall or horror or spooky things at all is Portrait of a Scotsman by Evie Dunmore. This is part of the League of Extraordinary Women series. It's a historical romance. I've read all of the other books up to this one. This just came out, I think, in September, and it's on my TBR. I just wanted to pick it up while I saw it there, so at least I have it when I'm ready to read it. I'll probably read this maybe like in November or maybe in December, because this is not a Halloween, October themed book at all, but it's definitely on my TBR. And I think that's the other book that, again, I wasn't able to pick up because it's not out yet, but I do want to read this month, is Nothing But Blackened Teeth by Cassandra Khaw. This book is a novella, so it's very short, and it's about a creepy haunted house, and it is a horror book. Apparently there's a lot of gore in it, and it's also based in Japanese folklore, so if you're familiar with the horror movies like The Grudge and like just Japanese style horror, that's what this book is supposed to be like, which is why I'm drawn to it. And I think it'll be perfect for like Halloween or Halloween weekend, or if I'm like alone at the house by myself and I really want to like get freaked out. That's what I'm gonna be reading, and I think I'm gonna do a reading vlog on that book too once I get it, because Halloween, we're here for it. All right, and those are all the books that are on my fall/spooky TBR. I hope this gave you some inspiration for books that you might want to read this month, or just add to your TBR to check out later. Let me know down below what books you plan to read this month, because I'm always looking to add books to my TBR, and my goal is to read 5 books this month, and I'm already reading The Night Circus, and I want to read these books, which means I'm already up to 6 books for October, and then I want to pick up Nothing But Blackened Teeth by Cassandra Khaw, so that's 7 books, and then potentially if I want to read a few others. So I really don't know if I'm going to be able to read all of those. I'm going to have to really hunker down and maybe get some audiobooks to also listen, but I really just want to read this month because I really want that atmosphere. But The Night Circus is actually a really good like audio experience. It's narrated by Jim Dale, who I think does a lot of other audiobooks, and he has a very just like atmospheric voice, and his voice changes with the different characters, so it was like, it's a fun like experience to listen to it. So that might also be something fun to do this month, especially with like the scary books, and if they have a really good audiobook narrator, that might like add to the experience. So just something I would add to the mix if you're looking to really spice up your reading this month. But yeah, those are all the books that I want to read and the books that I bought and acquired. And I think I'm going to end the video here because we have some reading to do. So make sure that you are subscribed to my channel to catch all of the upcoming fall and Halloween themed reading vlogs, because it's going to get spooky and fun up in here. I'm very excited. I'm also trying to watch at least one scary movie a week, which will probably end up being more than that because there's a lot of scary movies that I want to watch. I should have done a scary movie bucket list in this video. We'll do it in a different video. Yeah, thank you so much for being here, friends. Give this video a like. Let me know down in the comments what books you want to read this month, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!